Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you are new, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play and giving my channel a try. I hope you like what you see. I'd love to know what you're stitching, and I hope you stick around and hang out with us from week to week. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for being here, especially in December. I don't know about you, but I am already woefully behind. We are 1 week in and there's just so much great content out there, and we haven't even gotten to a lot of the plans and videos and the project parades and the whip parades and all that. Oh boy. So I think I'll be watching December videos way into January. So if you are here, my friends, thank you so much for taking that time to watch some of my video. We have pulled out yet another Christmas sweater top. Again, it's long sleeve, but it's lighter because I'm feeling a little warm, but we did go and we see if I do this all day. I don't wear anything high in the neck anymore. We do actually have even a little Christmas tree down there, but I feel like I need a booster seat when I do these videos because I feel so short. But anyway, I have got so much to talk about today. I am super, super excited about the projects. You're even going to see a project that is fully stitched. It's not finished, but that's okay. That wasn't the plan. That was started over 3 years ago, and you haven't seen it in ages because I needed to do some of the last little bits of it. So I'm so excited. I have a restart of a project and 2 other teeny tiny starts. So those will be kind of quickie projects type of things. So I felt fine about starting them, and I know that they'll be done quicker than they'll be hanging around type of thing. But before I show you my stitching, I do want to point you to my most recent video, my very first Flossmas video for 2023, and it was an explanation, as much as I could remember, of the new 2024 winter trading card swap. So if you participated the first time around and you really want to participate again, watch. If you didn't but wanted to participate, watch. If you're curious and you want to think about it, I would say just watch it to get the details. I show a couple little pieces that I hope to make into trading cards for the swap, and every time I do them, hopefully I'll just get better at remembering all of the details. If you need to if I didn't answer a specific question, I know I got a question about envelopes. So I'm gonna wait till January because I think more people would be sending them then. I will gather together a few just samples of what you can use as your envelopes. I'm gonna write myself a note on that so I remember, but there's lots of different options. There's just some, depending too if you sent one or if you've sent multiples that are better than others. And in a few cases, sometimes I just swapped out with one of mine if I was concerned that it wouldn't work. But that's an option. And then also, and again, you do not have to be on Facebook to participate. You do not have to be on Facebook to do any of the things that I do. I use that as a point of reference. And if you like being on Facebook and maybe you just want to do crafty stuff, I know several people have started to do that. Honestly, I have a regular Facebook page and I never, hardly ever, I mean ever, post to it, to be honest with you. All I do mostly and look at is my crafty stuff. But if you are on there, I do have a Facebook page, group, whatever you want to call it, Stitching by the Shore. And I just put up a post about if you have any trading card questions, whether it's how to make one, how to finish one, how to send one, how to whatever. You can put your questions there, and myself or now some of my experienced traders, swappers, can also help out too, hopefully, and maybe, you know, give their best experience of what might have worked for them. So that is there for a resource for you as well, but please don't feel like you have to be on any of those extra platforms in order to participate. I want to make sure it's open for everybody at all times. Okay, so that's that extra video. It literally was about 3 days ago, so we don't really need to talk about that much more. Let's jump into the projects. And I'm so excited. I'm starting with the finish, the stitchy finish, because I just couldn't wait to show it to you. So back in September of 2020, I started Bells of Ireland from Nora Corbett. And I started it right around my anniversary because I had Bells of Ireland in my wedding bouquet. So I thought it was just so appropriate. It is the one and only so far fancy lady, so to speak, that I have stitched. And it was a tough week finishing it off, but I think I'm sure I would do more. You know, it's kind of one of those things where I wish the charts were a little bit easier to handle and finagle on these, because that was definitely a challenge. Because even if I made copies of it, it was blurry. It was interesting. But there we go. Now I didn't bead, so I'm going to throw that out there at the beginning. This is going to go in my scrapbook, and I have talked about how I'm concerned about beads in the scrapbook, whether there's obviously the option that it could get crushed with the weight, but also it could crush into other projects and indent, you know, cause indents in other projects, and I don't want to do that either. This is done on an 18 count beach glass from Vintage Needlearts. They're on Etsy, and they also do, well, they used to do like they would dye rickrack and you know, all the different finishing elements, and as well as the fabric. And I've enjoyed using them, but I will say what's difficult, and I don't know how they finish or how they dye theirs. There is something on the back, and I don't even know if it's some residue, something or other. And although no, it's still there. I wonder if with time it would break down. My iron will stick if I iron straight on the back, because I iron my pieces from the back. And with this one, I always have to put a handkerchief. So I snagged an old handkerchief of Mo's, and I always put that over this piece. So, or any of the pieces that I've ever stitched with Vintage Needlearts fabric, so that my iron doesn't, and I don't even know, and I'm afraid of ruining the iron because I don't know what would be transferred onto it or so on and so forth. So I feel like I don't get as good an iron on this one because I can't really get into it, but it's not too bad. And then what I'll do is I'll really give it a good iron and put the interfacing on the back before I scrapbook it, so it'll be okay. I did all the colors that were called for. I didn't change any of that. Now, if I was going to use beads, it is on 18 count, so I assume I would have had to use the smaller beads rather than the called for version. But what I did was I took the bead colors, because I had originally ordered them, not even thinking that they would be too big anyway for 18 count. And I grabbed some sparklies, some DMC sparklies, and I matched them up to the beads. And I have to say, they matched no, this one I kind of pulled too far. They matched just about perfectly. So these are the 3 sparkly DMCs that I used: E703, E966, and E334. And they were almost spot on for the beads. So wherever I put that, and you probably won't see it on the screen, but in person, it actually does sparkle. And they do, even though I used one strand, they do pop out as kind of like an extra sparkle. So I'm really happy with that. And I did see, now that there's this trend of making super tiny, like mirrors and things like that, and people are stitching them over one on like 40 count, I think some people are using things like Krynic anyway instead of beads because of the super small nature of it. I'll have to say, I didn't mind that part. I mean, okay, those threads do split, and it was a little bit of a hassle. I learned very quickly that I needed really small strands of that, and then just keep starting and starting and stopping kind of thing, rather than trying to go with a long strand. But I dealt with that okay. It was the back stitch. And now I don't mind back stitching generally, but it was a little confusing in some cases how many squares I was supposed to jump over with the pattern. You know, the pattern is kind of unwieldy to look at and to read. And so I started this, I can't remember. I think I pulled it out Monday. I pulled it out after the Jingle Ball because there was no way I could do something like this while I was online. And I thought I had forgotten about the back stitch, to be honest with you. In fact, I actually had started over here with the Sparkle DMC and then realized, oh my goodness, I have all that back stitching to do. And so I stopped because I wanted to do the back stitching first and then finish with the sparkle. And so I pulled out there's the wings are different than the skin, and then we have some blue down here for the laces of the shoes. And I pulled that out, and I thought, well, I'm going to get this done super quick. I was thinking it would just take me a little time on Monday, and I'd be all set. I worked on this every single day this week, partly because it was frustration. Getting all of the back stitching, I would do a couple strands, and then I was so disgusted and frustrated with it, I put it away. And then I said I'd do some more. So then yesterday I had started, I was down to just the sparkle, and I had started it, and then I had to go out, and it didn't get time, but I said I was going to finish this because I was so excited to show this to you this week that it had to get done. So there is Bells of Ireland from Nora Corbett, and it is fully stitched. Fully stitched. Everything is done. And then what was really nice was that was my last. So I'm participating in the hashtag Whip Down 2023 Stitch Along. It's being hosted by the 20-Minute Stitcher, Heather, and Michelle Bendy Stitchy. And the idea is to see what you can get done. And I've got 8, and the reason why 8 was kind of my goal was Heather, the 20-Minute Stitcher, had done a little something extra on her Flosstube in that a few months ago, and I think that the form is still open because she just put out a video, and I think she was talking about it, where you could fill out a Google form, very simple, and say how many projects you wanted to get done by the end of 2023. You didn't have to say what ones they were. I mean, this is all on your honor, you know, it's not anything that's, you know, super like ticky-tack, you know, she's looking over your shoulder kind of thing. And I had said 8. And after the new year starts, she's going to have another form, and you put your name on there and say whether or not you got your goal. And then she's going to kind of just do a fun little, sending out something little, you know, small and fun for anybody who completed it. So I've been keeping track on my library card here, and I have gotten to 8. Now I'm going to keep going if I get some more. Now I'm only using older projects that were started before her Stitch Along kind of was official, when I heard it first on Heather's channel. It's her, you know, and she's been pretty open about it. You know, it's kind of your rules. You can do what you want. But for example, I got 2 starts this week that'll probably be finished by the end of 2023, but I'm not going to count them on this because I wanted to use this as kind of something that was like longer projects that had been sitting for a little while. And this one had been sitting for over 3 years. So I had finished the stitching probably at least a good year ago. I don't even remember exactly. And then I kind of put it away because at that point I was still thinking beads, and, you know, I was going to have to get the smaller ones and all of that other stuff. And so I just decided that this was the year I was going to get it done, and get it done I did. I'm trying to decide where to put my stuff here. I'm going to move a few things over. Let me do this, and then I can pile them right there. Alrighty, so that was my super exciting finish. I cannot believe it's done. It's been a long time coming, and I'm going to look forward to, if I can find a picture. Well, I do have a picture. It's in my wedding album though, so I don't know if I would be able to like take a picture of it and then get a smaller version of it printed up or something. I don't need an 8x10 of me holding my bouquet, but I do have one of those, you know, kind of formal wedding photos, or you're, you know, I think you're like looking down and you're holding your bouquet, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, it'd be fun to have my bouquet with this to kind of show the connection with it, and why I chose that one as my first Nora Corbett. I do really like some of the Bewitching Pixies, and so I could easily see myself stitching some of those. I have some, so it's not like I even have to buy any. So maybe next year. I'm still working on those plans for what I'm going to stitch next year. Those fluid plans, because you know I'm never going to hold myself completely to one thing. So next, I pulled out Librarian's House. Yes, and that is from Stone Street Stitch. And if you watch Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher's video this past Wednesday, Beth also, where's my pen? Beth also stitched this. So that was a lot of fun if you want to see her version of it as well. And now this is the original. Mine's going to look a little different. Most especially you're going to see I've changed out that part of the border. Instead of, see these flowers here, kind of a khaki, for want of a better word, I'm making them blue. I'm adding some more blue in there, and kind of pumping up the the greens. I'm calling it, what am I calling it? Jazzy Prim. I think I've jazzed up the Prim colors a little bit. So here it is. Now, Beth and I do have a hashtag, and so you're welcome to join us if you want. It's hashtag librariansamplersal, S-A-L. This is done on 18 count Darling David by Those Missing Stitches. And I'm telling you right now, this is a gorgeous, now this is 18 count, that's all I know, but I'm telling you on 18 count, it is the most beautiful piece of fabric. And these colors, I think anything really dark is gonna look so fabulous. In fact, after I had gotten this, I immediately bought another piece. So I have a full piece in my stash ready to go in case I find something else big that I wanted to stitch on. But so you can see here, this is darker. I do have the blue. If you look in the description box below, because off the top of my head, I don't remember. It's probably like 932 if I had to guess. Oh, let me see if it's right here. 930. I went backwards. I went the wrong direction. That's a fun blue that I really like. So, you know, there's some blue there. It's going to be up there. I think the house, I'm going to make blue rather than the kind of olive khaki green that the house is. So I'm just adding some more blues in there. And I thought the 930 really matched nicely with the other shades. And it's kind of seamless with that. So that's where it is. And I do enjoy stitching this because you get like little mini finishes. I did have to, I think it was this one. I was stitching this a little bit this weekend during the Jingle Ball. And of course, anytime I have to count, I should know better when I'm on some of these Zooms and so on and so forth. So I had to spend some time unstitching quite a bit of this because I had stitched it wrong. And it, you know, sometimes if it's just like if the whole piece is one over, I wouldn't mind, but these things wouldn't have looked, the outer part wouldn't have actually, they didn't go. I had it completely misdone. So I really did have to pull it out that time. Sometimes I'm all about if I can fudge it, but not that time. So that's what it looks like. And I will just keep plugging away at this. I like this one if I want something that I want to get little finishes in. It's a pretty good, notwithstanding this time that I had to pull out stitches, it's a pretty good Zoom piece because I can find parts of it that I can stitch without really having to put all of my attention into it. There's certainly some that I would never probably stitch on a Zoom, but that one seems to work pretty well. Now, in the spirit of pulling out all of these old projects, I have another one for you. You have seen this one recently, though. This has gotten a little bit of work this year, but not a ton. And so my goal is this one to get it finished for next year. And it's Plum Street Samplers Cinnamon Stars. So that's what it looks like. Now, I started this, I don't know if it was 2020 or 2021. I'm not really sure exactly. One or the other. I'd have to look and see. I don't know if I started it before or after Betsy's Autumn. I kind of think of those as companion pieces. Betsy's Autumn's long been finished. I just loved those trees and the swaying kind of branches. If I was starting this now, I would definitely kind of punch up the colors a little bit. It's very brown for me. But I'm looking at it as a companion piece to Betsy, although Betsy is brighter. And I already have so much of it. I had already gotten so much of it done that I'm keeping it the way it is. I am going to change the pumpkins because the DMC version, some of them are just brown. And I don't want brown pumpkins. So I will change those. I'll do them in kind of a, not the bright orange, but kind of that, is it like 919 or 920? Somewhere around those lines. I'll look at some of those and see how those work. But that's where I am with it. So as you can see, if you remember from last time that I had stitched it, or if not, this is what I'm remembering. I don't do the before and after pictures because usually I'm stitching when I watch. And so I only want to look up the one time. And two, it's kind of like a Where's Waldo kind of thing. Like sometimes I really can't tell from one to the other. So for me, I figure then if I can't tell, then I'm not going to do it on my videos. But if you love doing it, then I say keep doing it. I just look up when the extra piece comes on. I did extend all of this. I did work on this weekend, and I thought the fence was a good thing to do because it was pretty easy. You wouldn't necessarily have known, but I did the inside of all of these flowers this week. I started on the scarecrow. I am going to change and the scarecrow has no shirt because I didn't really love the shirt. It's kind of one of the browns that's similar to the pumpkins that I'm changing. So I'm thinking that I might do kind of like maybe like a maroony red, like a 3777, or maybe I pull in that something like the 930. I know there's no, I think I might do more of the 3777. So in the picture, this door is redder than here. It's, of course, surprise, surprise, brown on the DMC version. But I might end up doing like the maroon shirt just to add a little bit of pop of color, because I would like a little pop, especially if I'm putting it next to Betsy. And then I finished this element, and I almost have that one finished. I do have to go back and do the circles, like the inner piece of pretty much all of these. They're different. It's not the same one the whole time. So I do have to work on that. I think what I'm almost sure I'm going to end up doing, because I know myself, because I know this is going to happen, is I'll have everything finished, but the pumpkins in the middle. I can almost guarantee you that's going to be the last thing, because I think I want to see everything, and then I'll make my decisions on the colors for the pumpkins. And I am leaving the windows unstitched because my fabric here, which is an 18 count Honey Amber by Fabrics by Stephanie, not sure I said that, and that is an exact match to what I did Betsy's Autumn on. This was half of the piece from Stephanie, and then the other half, what Betsy's Autumn was stitched on. And look at this. I have, because I'm scrapbooking it, I'll have an awesome bottom part here where I can use for trading cards or something else. So I'm excited about that. But no, if I was a stitch only kind of one thing stitcher, I probably could get it done by the end of this month, but you know that I don't have the attention span for that. So my goal would be a end of 2024 finish on that. And I mean, I know exactly, I'm going to pull out Betsy. I want to use the same sort of colorings for the scrapbook page, and you know, kind of do the same pretty much exact layout, and they'll just be a 2-page layout side by side. And that'll be just kind of like companion pieces. So the full finish should be pretty easy on that because I know where I want to go with it. All right, now this one, I had started it one way, and now I am, with the trading card swap coming up, I got to a point on this piece and I think it'll make an adorable trading card. So I may stop now. This might be a stitched finish at this point, and then I will restitch it again because I want to do it as an ornament for my stitchy Christmas tree. So this came from the Just Cross Stitch 2023 Christmas Ornaments issue. And this is the ornament that I'm talking about. It's called Decorating Owl. I believe the designer is Jessie Schofield. And I was plugging along, doing it. This is a scrap piece of fabric. I don't even know an official name or anything for it. I'm just calling it navy. It was in my scrap bin. I have a bin of scraps that aren't labeled or anything. I had gotten to that point. So to finish it as a ornament, the last part of it was to stitch the snowflakes, you know, and just do the back stitch down to the snowflakes. That's the kind of back stitch that I don't mind because it's straightforward. It makes sense. It's easy to read. It's that other kind of all the angles and lots of symbols that are small and hard to read and trying to actually count that makes it difficult. But I got to this point with it and I said, you know, look at that. I love the, this is actually back stitch, the kind of the green, almost like snow-covered pine needles. And in fact, you do one strand of a green and one strand of a white, and you backstitch with the 2 strands, those right there, which I thought was neat. I got to this point and I said, wait, it's a winter kind of theme. An owl with some pine cones and some snowy kind of needles is perfect for winter. And to be honest with you, I have to think long and hard. I think this would be cute as a tiny little ornament like that. And then maybe I thought about, instead of having snow coming down from the bottom, maybe stitching a snowflake or two kind of up here. Whether I use the snowflakes that are in here, or you know that remember the Prairie Schooler Santa from this year? He's surrounded by snowflakes, right? So there's a lot of different options for snowflakes there, or any other pattern I might have. So I thought about that as well, kind of thing, if I wanted to have things coming from the top, or I could use snowflake brads, so many different options. But as I'm thinking about this, I might just, because I'd like to have a couple of the stitches finished for the swap, and then I just have to fully finish the actual trading card in January. And I love it. I actually prefer it on the navy than to the black, to be honest with you. I really love the navy. Isn't that such a pretty color? So, and then it did call for beads. There's 3 beads here, red and here, and I chose not to do them. I just picked, can I tell what it is here? It will be in the description box. I pulled out 2 different reds, and I think I went with the darker one. $4.98 is what I pulled out, and I just used that. I mean, it's 6 little stitches, so it's just easy to pull and do that with that instead. So that is I'm going to call it a stitched finish for one of my trading cards. So there you go. It's another finish for the year. I think I'm up to at least 30 finishes this year. You know, from these small trading cards all the way up to big pieces. So I'm excited about that. Okay, next. So this one was, I expected to have more to show for you. And I'm just looking for it. It's in the digital. There it is. Well, I ended up not really stitching it over the weekend because I realized that full coverage, I know me. I don't know how people do full coverage on Zoom calls. You are amazing. I really have to say that. I don't know how you do it. I just totally lose my place and can't figure it out. So this week, last week, you knew I was going to continue, at least for another week, Lazlo Koday 1. That's who the artist is, Lazlo Koday, and it is charted by Stitches So Beautiful. And so I was going to do that in Hidden Harbor. Well, I wasn't able to do any over the weekend, or I just decided I wasn't going to, right? Excuse me, I'm green tea this morning. We're going pretty simple. So I said, okay, on Monday, you know what? I'm not going to start Hidden Harbor because I'm only going to have a few days to work on Lazlo Koday. And that's what my plan was. And I started to do so. Let me show it to you while I'm talking. So this is where I ended up. And I kind of just wanted to kind of close the book on this one for this stitching session. I am going to put it away now. I'm really enjoying it, but I kind of want to do some of Hidden Harbor, and there's other ones I want to work on. So I'm not yet a full coverage stitcher. It would be easy to become one, but then there's so many other stitches I would miss out on. So this is done on an 18 count white Aida, 2 strands over 1 full cross. And I was really hoping to get the sun. Yeah, the sun done. I was going to say, is it a sun or a moon? But it's sun. So I can't remember which day this week. It might have been, I don't remember. I had gotten an email from Valerie, who is Stitches So Beautiful, and it was titled Limoncello. And so I opened up the email, and she had said that it had come to her attention that she had some patterns that had duplicate symbols. And so, you know, one symbol was more than one color. And so that she was sending I'm going to say recharting it, but just new symbols, and sending out, you know, copies of whatever I had bought with the new symbols. And so I immediately stopped, because then I was like, I wonder, I mean, I could have kept, I'm pretty sure these are all the correct thing, right? I mean, I would know right away if there was some strange color in them in the sun. But I immediately stopped because I hadn't gotten this one yet. And then last night I got an email from her that included the recharted version of this and another piece that I haven't started. I'm hoping Limoncello should be all right. But because I wasn't sure, I decided I wanted to put this on hold. I mean, I can't imagine the amount of work she's doing to email everybody who's bought from her these patterns. And I looked, and the symbols are, it's so much better. The previous symbols, you would have 4 different symbols that would look almost exactly the same, just like mirror image or up and down or whatever. Now it is just completely different symbols, you know? I mean, there might be like a little telephone or little sunglasses or a little, along with some of the other things. And so it's actually so much nicer. So it's so much work for her, but I think I'm actually going to prefer stitching her patterns now with these updated symbols because it's going to be a little bit easier. I have Markup RXP. I just haven't sat down and taken the time to learn it. And so I use paper. And so symbols that are that close, I have made mistakes here and there. In fact, I know I caught myself, but with this sun, there was 2 different colors that were almost the same symbol. And so I was able to catch it with not too much done. So I was able to fix it and then kind of make a mental note. But it's going to be so much better now. So big kudos to Stitch Is So Beautiful for all that effort. I mean, she could have just said, you're going to have to look for this or that and, you know, then reach out to me maybe or something or other. But she was totally being proactive and redoing all of that. And I have to say that I appreciate the dedication and the attention to detail and customer service that she has given. And so I would highly suggest Stitch Is So Beautiful on Etsy if you are looking for some full coverage pieces. She has a wide variety of artists that she charts, and I think you'll enjoy possibly stitching. I know I will so much more now that she has redone it. All right, let's keep moving on because I am talking a lot. This is Autumn Quaker from Jardin Prive. This was a no-brainer to stitch over the weekend because it's one color and it's fairly easy, right? So this is an 18 count soft peach from To Dye For Fabrics. I had mentioned before, if you look, there is this mushroom here, and I'm not going to be very descriptive, but it just felt a little inappropriate looking. And maybe it's just my mind's a bit more juvenile. I might be 54, but you know, your mind sometimes just becomes juvenile, right? And so I felt like it was just symbol-wise, I wanted to change it, and I only changed it slightly. So that's what it looks like now. Pretty much the same kind of dimensions of the actual element, and I'll know not to count off of it. I have enough around it that if I'm trying to do something, I'll just count somewhere else. I'm pretty sure I'm not getting this finished by the end of 2023. I was really hoping to, but no, I don't think it's happening at this point. There's too many things I want to stitch, and I actually I have all of this. I have this symbol to finish, which I've been having slow troubles with this one, to be honest with you. And then I have all this to stitch, which there's a decent amount down there. I mean, these are easy to stitch, but there's a lot of stitches there. So I've come to the conclusion that 2023 finish is not happening. I would like to have it finished though before I start the Autumn Quaker from Leela Studio. And considering I don't even own that pattern yet, and that's not getting started to 2024 some point, and I already have January, some ideas already pretty kind of fleshing out a little bit. I don't think it would be in January anyway, to be honest with you. Maybe in the spring, so that I would start it 2 seasons ahead kind of thing. And then depending on if winter were to come out, I don't know when that one would come out. Say it came out before summer, I could start it 2 seasons ahead there, and then I'd have all 4 of them started. I don't know. So I have a few months, and I will keep this in my rotation. I kind of like it too, because I do like monochromatic pieces for car stitching. If I go to, the weather has been up and down, up and down. It's freezing one day and you're like, oh, it's winter, even though technically it's not winter. And then the next, it's almost 60 degrees. So on those nice days, I haven't really taken advantage of it yet, but sometimes I just like to go, and I don't even sometimes leave my car. I sit at the beach. There is a spot on the far end of the boardwalk that I can sit in the parking lot, and I have the ocean right there, so I can hear it. I open up my windows a little bit. I can see it, but I have to say my car is actually fairly comfortable for stitching. Mo's not so much, but mine is comfortable for stitching. So I actually don't mind stitching there. And so I kind of do that. And then if I want to get out and go for a walk on the boardwalk, I can do so, and so on and so forth. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll do the boardwalk first. So this way I say I have to do the walk, and then I can kind of do the stitching afterwards. So, all right, next we have a restart. And I think you're not going to be surprised necessarily that this was coming, to be honest with you. Because I wasn't loving it as I was watching it, and I had a feeling it was coming. So I have both of the pieces. I had bought these as a set. You can buy them each separate, or you can buy them together. This one is the Twisted Rainbow Sampler from Northern Expressions Needleart, I believe. I'll have it listed in the description box. And this one might just be, I don't know what it's called. I don't remember. If you go to the site, you'll see. And she has the specialty stitch version, and these are just X's. I'm just doing the X's. So this is the one that I'm doing it this way because I never got past the top, so the bottom colors really don't matter. I had done all of the colors across because I wanted to see how it looked on the fabric. So this was the original that I had stitched. I had that up here, so it's going to be a little bit folded over. And I decided that it just wasn't working for me. And I know somebody in the comments had said, well, it's kind of a bluish tinged gray, and that might be why. Because I wasn't necessarily all in on doing it on black. So, and it's funny because looking at it like that, I mean, it's not the worst thing. It's just every time I looked at it, I mean, rousing endorsement, right? It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. That really makes you want to stitch it, doesn't it? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the point end here. And so I'd have a little bit to pull out here stitches wise, but I might finish and just have a nice little rectangle. I've put in a good amount of stitching at this point. And it might be fun just to have that little piece. That's not a priority. But I'm not necessarily, what I might do, I can cut this down because this would go in the scrapbook most likely anyway, or even not, it would be like a leaner or something. So I can cut it knowing I don't need a full like 3 inches, and just then put this fabric back in my stash and just have it in the bag because this will take a while anyway. But I decided instead of doing the gray, because then I thought maybe I'd do them both on the same color and just have the different flosses be the alternative. But I liked the kind of the dark and the light theme. So I pulled out, it's kind of like a chalkboard. It's called Raven Black. It's an 18 count and it's from To Die For Fabrics. And that's all I have. I really wanted to get, and I do still, you'll notice I am working this way rather than concentrating on a color because I want to get all the colors in and make sure that this is what I want. But even just looking at it now, here, there's the blue in the gray, the blue in this fabric is almost what draws my eyes, and I kind of don't see the stitching. Whereas here I see the stitching. So my goal is, before I start doing any more of these lines, is to go all the way across, stitch all of the colors. I didn't get a huge start on this, but I did get some then once I finally decided on a new fabric. So, and that way if I do this, I'll have this one in the dark, and then I do have a light gray picked out for the other piece, which will at some point get stitched as well. And then I'd have the two kind of side-to-side pieces. So I think I'm going to like that. I do prefer it than the one I was already stitching on. So that's a starting point, right? As to something positive. Oh, and I didn't pull out a cover photo for this. You know, I'm only on video 194. Oh boy. Owl Force Embroidery. Black Vintage Sampler. This is one of my 3 in a weekly, a tri-weekly, I guess, rotation. So they each get worked on once every 3 weeks. So this is it in its entirety. I started this in January. It was my New Year, New Start this past year, 2023. No, it won't be done before 2024. And I'm trying to think I don't think I did anything up there. I think all of my stitching was down here. That's the bottom. That's as low as it's going to go. I kind of have to concentrate on the submarine, so it's going slower than some of the other pieces go. So sometimes I jump from that to something else. There's little like fish everywhere, and there's the little like bubbly things. So I'll jump to those a lot of times just to kind of do something else. I came in just shy of 500 stitches. I try with these 3 pieces to do 500 for the week. But, you know, this month, not only is it flying by, but obviously it's busier. There's a lot going on. So I don't necessarily get the same amount of stitching done. This is 18 count A Rainy Day from Bestitchme. And I wanted something, I wanted to invoke kind of a foggy, rainy sort of London look. And when I found this color, I thought this was perfect. It was exactly what I wanted. And I'm using Anchor Black for the stitches. So again, it's a nice monochromatic, but it's tough to bring with me a lot of times because it is bigger. So it's a little bit more unwieldy. If I were to try to stitch that in the car, it would not work as well as Autumn Quaker, to be honest with you. Alrighty. So I pulled out, now that December is here, I pulled out December's Holly from Cottage Garden Samplings, and I'll work on this for this month. So I had originally thought, okay, I have a decent amount stitched. I could get this done this month. No, I will not. If you remember from last month, I didn't like the floss choices for the words. So I used a DMC variegated, and I really liked how that looked. And so now I'm thinking, ooh, do I want to do that for all of them? Now I had a decent amount of words stitched on this. And in fact, you can see I haven't pulled them all out yet. Come 4 and the first part of Christmas, it still has to be pulled out. I wasn't really loving that yellow, to be honest with you. I mean, there's no yellow anywhere else in the piece, and I'm not sure I need it. So I pulled out, this is a big strand because I can't remember what store on Etsy I bought it from, but they attached all of them together, and I just haven't unattached them, to be honest with you. I want to go back and find out who I ordered these from. I pulled out 115, and it goes from like a maroon to a pretty bright red, but no lighter than that. And as you can see, I've gone from maroon and I'm heading to the bright red, but I think the variegation, it's almost going to look like maybe 2 colors of thread, but it's really nice because I don't have to keep changing from letter to letter. I mean, there's not a lot of rhyme or reason either, you know, where the changes are. And so I kind of like this. So I had to pull out this first part, all this of these words, and then I restitched it with that. And then I got tired of pulling out, and I said, I don't want to pull any more out. So I stitched the house. So the house is not done, but I got a good portion of it done. I mean, it's structure and the roof. So just the windows and the door. I don't know why I didn't do the snowman. I started the snowman. He's got a hat and he's got a scarf. I just don't have the rest of the snowman. I don't have a ton of holly left to do, but I do have some down here, and there's going to be a bird up there. This is done on an 18 count Honeydew Melon from To Dye For Fabrics. And yeah, I'm just looking at the month, and I'm looking at what's coming ahead. And I'm just going to have some days where stitching is going to be, you know, if I can get 50 to 100 stitches in, that'll be a good day for me. I do try to do a tiny bit each and every day because it's just something just for me. So even if it's just 1 strand, I think there might have been a few days this year that maybe 1 or 2 strands was all I did, but it was just that little something just for me. So, but that just means that some things will take a little longer. If it's not done in 2023, it will most certainly be a 2024 finish. So, all right. Now I have a couple these are quickie starts. This one is the Black Cat holiday version. I am stitching this. Well, it's too late now. I don't think Megan watches my videos, but Megan, if you're watching now, your surprise has been, now it's gone. Oh, well. I'm stitching this for Megan. Megan got a cat this year. but her cat has, it's a kind of a tuxedo cat. Although Zelke is on the nose part is part white and part black. So I have to look at a picture and figure out how to do this charting wise, because I am no designer. And then, and I don't know if I would do any down here, if I would just keep this black. I'm not sure yet. Now, I did find out that, you know, with Megan's schedule, we will not see her on Christmas Day. So I do have a little extra time. I probably will not see her, you know, especially with her work schedule and everything else, until early January. So I'm going to actually probably put this on the back burner. I haven't started one for Connor yet. I will see Connor for Christmas. So this one can wait a little bit. But I have a little teeny tiny start. It's so cute. We have the hat. That's all I have. But I have the hat. This is just done on an 18 count scrap of fabric. It kind of reminds me of Artemis from Bestitchme, but I'm not going to commit to that. So, this one will get put aside now and I'll work on Connor's, but I don't think this one would take very long. Given that I have until January, I will do all of the things that I have to stitch. And I don't really have much because I don't have a piece, like last year I stitched the sea otter for Mo. I don't have any this year that I'm necessarily stitching for him. I just have the one for Connor to do. So, although I do have a cute little idea, it wasn't my idea. And if I do end up doing this project, I will give full credit. It's adorable. And I might be able to do a few, and that might be something that I make for the entire family kind of thing. I know, completely mysterious and oblique, but you know, if I don't do it, why talk about it, right? All right, this is the other little piece. This is Imprints Fa La La and Mary from Heart and Hand, and I started with Fa La La. I talked about how I wanted to stitch these. My goodness, if you need a quick ornament, this is not finished, not for the fact that I couldn't have, but even if you're not, say, the speediest stitcher in the world, I think you could get one of these done at least before Christmas if you needed an ornament, for example, if you were doing something. It's the two colors. It's really nice and easy to stitch. And look at, that's where I'm at. We were watching Aston Villa on Wednesday. You know, Mo is a huge Aston Villa fan. And they beat City. I mean, hello. It was an awesome game. Awesome game. They played phenomenally. And so I stitched on this while the game was on. And I had to keep looking up because Villa kept playing really well. So I didn't get a ton done, but you can see, I mean, at this point I have 2/3 of the ornament done. And then I just have to extend the borders and stitch around Fa La La, and that's it. So if I just take the time this week to get this one done, this would be a cute bringing, if I end up going to the beach for like a beach stitch. This one could easily get done. And then look at the other one. Again, it's nice big chunks between the tree is one color and the word Mary and the star is another, and boom, you're done. And so this is, you know, I mean, it's going to be a cute little tiny. The stitch count is only, on this one, 27 by 41. So you can see it's going to be, put this in your back pocket for if we ever do a holiday, whatchamacallit, trading card swap. Because according to this, on a 32 count, it would be 1.5 by 2.5 inches. And we all know that a trading card is 2.5 by 3.5. So who knows? Maybe in the future. 18 count Friendship Green by Fabrics by Stephanie. Nantucket Sky and Friendship Green are my two go-tos by Stephanie. I love them on 18 count. But I love how this red and green look on this fabric. So that one is most definitely, I'm telling myself that's a finish by the end of this year. There's no reason why it couldn't be. All right, and last but not least, the Wizard of Oz tree, and this is from Tiny Modernist. Love it. I love this one. It's so cute. I love all the little elements of it. This is where I'm at. This is being done on an 18 count Opal Blue Ice from To Die For Fabrics. because it's got the sparkle, every once in a while there's like these stray stitches that are supposed to be, I don't know, like twinkles or something or other, and I'm not stitching those because in real life, I don't know if it comes off on the screen, but in real life, every part of it sparkles. So that's where I am with that. I think I concentrated on the apples for the most part. I think Linda, the Good Witch, is done. And yeah, I'm just plugging along. This is the last row, thank goodness, right? Because I don't have that much fabric. And then we have, you know, the bottom here is the Emerald City with the rainbow in each direction. I know on Dorothy here, I'm going to use red étoile for her slippers. I might do it here too, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And that's really the only change. Otherwise, all the colors are exactly as called for. And I love, love, love it on this fabric. So this one I just pull out every once in a while. I like it because you can get mini finishes. There are a lot of colors, I'm not going to lie. This apple alone is like 4 colors, right? And some of these pieces have a lot of different colors to them to get all of the depth. So even though you can get mini finishes, you do have to commit to, some time to those little mini finishes because they do take some time. Alrighty, so plans. Very quickly, I don't have a lot of plans to tell you. I am, at this point, just about, unless I have unscheduled starts, I have one more scheduled start that I know I want to do. I have 3 or 4 other charts that are in my basket that I could start for this December, but I'm not sure I will. I think I may either save, well, for example, the winter blessings, I might save that for January, February, some point, the Leela Studio one. The other pieces, they might just go maybe till next Christmas, or they'll just get done whenever I feel like stitching something like that. But the one I do want to start is Blue Rhapsody. I decided on the blue rather than the green. I was saying I might do both this December, but I'm not sure if I want to start both of these big pieces in this month. I think I've never done a Rosewood Manor before, so I think what I want to do is start one and see how I like it. There are so many of these that I want to do, but you know, I gotta kind of figure out what I'm doing. Now, the Rosewood Manor, they're stitched in Weeks Dye Works, and there is no DMC alternative. So what I did was I took the names, I think it's Navy and Sky is what's suggested here on this one. I plugged that into my little, you know, my little charts for DMC, because I'm just going to do DMC. I like DMC, and there's some great colors on this, and then just do the 2. Really, you only need 2, right? A dark and a medium. And I think I might make the light blue be Nantucket Sky as the fabric I stitch on. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm thinking that. I'm going to go through my blues, but that one's the most likely candidate. And so for Navy, they had recommended 311, the charts. For Sky, one chart didn't even have Sky available. Other had all different options. And so I pulled everything out because I wasn't really sure. And so this was what they gave. They gave, you know what? I have a little bit of Nantucket Sky right here. So we're going to use that. They gave 931 as an option. So this is what I was looking at. I pulled out my DMC book just to make sure. I was loving that. And I wasn't sure about the 311 because when I look at the 311 with the 931, one of them looks like a brighter blue and one looks more, the medium blue looks deeper. This looks brighter. So then I went through my book and I looked at the numbers and then I saw 336. So you can see the difference there. 336 is much darker. It's more navy, to be honest, than 311. And I don't need it to look exactly like the picture, to be honest with you. I want the colors to be something that match in my mind. So when I look at 336 and 931, they actually, in my mind, in my brain, as I register the colors, they actually look better together than the 311. So I've got all 3 colors out yet. I'm a little concerned with the 931 on here. Although I do have to look at the pattern and see how it's worked in with the darker color. Do you know what I mean? if there's enough darker color around it, it will be fine. But even though it doesn't necessarily look like it might be right on top of that color-wise, if I just pull out, you know, I'll do 2 strands on the 18 count. But if I'm just doing a strand or 2, that may end up fading in a little bit. So that's currently my option, but I may change out the fabric if I feel like I want something a little bit lighter, so that I just focus on these blues and not have this blue be too much of a focal point. So that's a work in progress yet, but I do want to start that. I am starting that because Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher, is celebrating her birthday with Rosewood Manor stitches. And so she is doing 2 starts for her birthday. And that finishes off her 60 and 60 starts. Those are her number 59 and number 60. And I'm going to throw out there Rosewood. I don't even know. I don't know if it's Rosewood Manor birthday sale. I don't know if it's Rosewood birthday sale. I know Beth recently on her Instagram said, and I didn't write it down, so I'm not 100% sure. When I get to it and I start it, I will double check and do my research and have the proper sale name on that. Next year, I need a plan. I need to figure out how to organize the names of all of the stitch-alongs and who's hosting them, or if I'm kind of hosting them, who's stitching along with me, and I need to figure that out because I have no good way right now. I can't rely on my memory. Plans otherwise, Flossmas. I think my next Flossmas might be a scrapbook flip through. I know a lot of you have been looking forward to that and telling me that you'd like to see that. So I think that might be the next one because I'm still kind of doing the planning. And then I need to figure out my 2024 prep. One of my videos I do want to do, like I'm going to pull out charts and kind of have an idea of what I would like to start each month. I don't have a specific number in mind. Like I'm not doing 24 and 24 or kind of whatever that is, because I would like to do 55 full finishes for my 55th year. So there's a lot of F's in there. And I don't have a cute hashtag quite yet with that, but so that's kind of where my focus is for numbers. So I'm not sure with the starts how many, and I mean, honestly, things are going to come out like Cottage Garden. I want that house. I don't have the house yet. You know, is it Candy Cane House, Santa House? I don't remember what it's called, but she's going to have a year of houses of some sort of houses. Because one's a lighthouse. I think there's like a castle. There might be like a fairy house. So I know I'm going to want to start stitch potentially some of those, but they're not out yet. So how can I start them? And there's going to be other things. So when I do that kind of plan video, there's always going to be room for some possible other things as well. So we'll see. But those plans are not set yet. I also have to start, I do want to participate in Bringo again this year, which is part of the magazine monthly cross stitch challenge. And I've printed off the prompts and that's all I've done. I have no idea what I'm doing for my charts for the prompts. So I have to start looking at that too. So lots of prepping going on really for 2024. So that's why those videos may be a little bit later on in the Flossmas journey. There's no reason why I can't do my scrapbook flip through. I don't know if I'm going to get anything else scrapbooked before the end of the year at this point. So I might as well just show you. All right, that's that. Happy Mail. I want to say a thank you to Anne. I got a nice little package from her, and she had sent me a whole bunch of different things that I could keep or give away. So I think, excuse me, I think there's going to be a little combination of both. And I don't know if she realized this one might be, and I don't know, I'm going to put it as a possible October for my pumpkin birthday sale, but we have a pumpkin carriage there. So that very well might be my 2024 pumpkin birthday stitch along, one of my stitches, because actually there's a lot of pumpkins when you look at it. So we'll see. All right, so thank you so much. It was like a squishy package. I was like, I couldn't remember what you had said you were sending, and it was so lovely, your patterns. And look, there's also perforated paper in here. So I get to sample a whole bunch of different colors, which is really kind of cool because I've only worked on perforated paper the one time for the start of my one Mill Hill. So I'm kind of excited to try these out. These might be kind of cool for, say, little stitches. Maybe something that I could even do with trading cards. So we'll see. Alrighty. What did I buy? A little bit. Not a ton. I do have my fabric of the month from Bestitchme. So if you do not want to see, if you haven't gotten it and you want to be surprised, look away right now. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show you the name rather than and say it. That's what it says. It's called. And look at this. So in some ways, you could almost use it as two colors, two different fabrics as one. If you had smaller pieces, look at the difference. Or if you did a large piece, that would be an amazing, amazing color. I'm going to put it away. You can look now if you weren't looking. Alrighty. So that is that. That is the shopping. I did go to Jingle Ball. I didn't buy much because I know there was some things that I want to buy that are not part of the Jingle Ball. So I was kind of cognizant of that. I did buy the ornament book from the designers, the 2023. And I had not attended last year. And so I bought the 2022. And then the only other thing I bought, and I don't know if I thought it was in my photos here, now looking, and it doesn't look like it is. Oh, but you know what? I might be able to do it this way on Dropbox. I bought from Satsuma Street. Let's see if I can do this. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this real quick. And I'm going to make that smaller. There we go. Saved photos. All right. So if I go to my photos, I did buy, it's called Winter Woods, and it's from Satsuma Street. And I bought that because how awesome are those for trading cards? We have a winter theme. They'd also be adorable as little ornaments. I think they'd be super cute, those little elements. So I did buy that. So the two ornament books and this are the only things I did buy from the Jingle Ball, just because, like I said, I knew there was some other things that I wanted to, oh, you know, I'm trying to X out of something, and that was part of the picture. It wasn't part of the actual site. So I was thinking ahead with that. And so this year it might be that I stitch those maybe for trading cards, and then maybe in the future, either next year or future down the road, maybe some for ornaments, because I think those are super cute. It's adorable as is, but I think breaking it apart, I could get so much out of that. There is one other thing, but I don't have a good picture of it, and I wouldn't have a quick way to show you. So I'm going to wait till next week, and I'll show that to you next week. Alrighty, giveaways. Let's do this. I'm thinking that I don't want the video to be super, super long because there is so much out there. So I figure if the bulk of the video was just my stitching, then we'll do all the other stuff really quick. All right, so this past week, I was giving a $10 gift certificate away to 123 Stitch. I asked you to say the word holly, and I'm just mixing around. A few of them felt stuck together. I put all the names in my blue bowl, and if I pull it apart, who do I have? I can put it up against the blue bowl, I guess. Sherry Tolman. So congratulations, Sherry. If you could get back to me with your email address, that way I know. I think in 123 Stitch, you give the email address and they send it to you. I can't remember if it's a code that I send or if they send it straight to you. One way or the other, we'll get that to you. So congratulations. Now this week, I'll put this over here. I pulled this out because this was a kind of a cool idea. This pattern, it's called Stocking Full, and it is from All Through the Night. Now you think, oh, it's just a regular stitch pattern, right? Well, this part is stitched. What's kind of cool is on the chart here, and it's just a one-page thing, so I have to be careful here. They actually have like a cutout picture of this stocking, and they say, cut the stocking of red polka dot flannel or fabric of your choice. And you actually attach the stocking to the piece. I thought, how cool is that? I have no idea. I haven't read the instructions. They whip stitched into place. I guess they use fusible web first, and then they whip stitched it in place. I think I could also, I think that'd be cute. I could use my glue and glue it in place as well. I don't feel like I need to do any type of stitching. The other thing I was thinking of, I have no, and I don't know, I could be completely out in left field because I don't know. I don't do punch needle, but if you have, with punch needle, it seems like they just have drawn designs, right? And then you do the, could you punch needle that? So you could you cross stitch this and then punch needle that and have it in one piece? I don't know. I'm kind of curious on that. Even this is kind of, I'm just looking at it. Even this top part, you know, if you're like, oof, that's too much. This would be kind of cute on its own. It's just a snowman kind of surrounded by holly leaves and a little bird. So I'm going to ask you to say the word stocking. If you would like me to put your name in the blue bowl for this chart, it's called Stocking Full. All through the night. I don't know when it was copyrighted. Does it say here? I'm sure it says here somewhere. 2013, so it's a little bit older. I know, I was long since before, it was long after that before I got involved in cross stitch. So I would never have seen this. So maybe it's new to you as well. Alrighty, so that's the giveaway stuff. And if that's all you're here for, have a great week and I will see you next time I see you. Life stuff, not a lot. I'm trying to think here what's going on. And I gotta say, not much. It is supposed to be a little nicer this weekend. So I think we want to spend some time outside, but I don't exactly know what we want to do. So that's a little up in the air right now. You know, I can't even really think. Nothing super exciting. Just kind of plugging along. This part of December actually is a little bit quieter for me, not 100%, which is kind of nice because the back end of the month is going to be kind of busy and a little bit here and there. So I'm kind of enjoying this part right now where it is a little bit quieter. You know what I mean? And then we have not overscheduled ourselves at all for this month, and I am loving that idea because I've said this before. We've spent years overscheduling ourselves, and by Christmas I was sick, right? Because I had overdone stuff, and then when you start to relax a little bit, when everything's done, then all of a sudden your body just says, I've been holding it steady as best I can, and now I just can't anymore. So I'm kind of liking this, you know, just kind of floating through the month so far, and I'm gonna take it as it is. I mean, when it comes to, I mean, my Christmas stuff was already up by Thanksgiving, so I didn't have to worry about that. With the kids at their age now, you know, I might make them a small little ornament or something, but for the most part, you know, I need to know, you know, what kinds of things do you want? I'm not necessarily sure, you know, at this point in time, what they would like or not like. So I want to make sure that they have an input in that. And so even that's kind of easy at this point. So I'm just going to enjoy it. I'm just going to roll with it and just take it as long as I can before things get kind of crazier or busier. So that's about it, I guess, really. So life, not much to talk about really life-wise. Like I said, I did go to the Jingle Ball this last weekend. I'm sure you can hear lots of different recaps of it. I know some people were asking about it in my Facebook group, like my thoughts for it. And I don't know if I'll get to it this year. If I don't, then maybe I'll talk about it. I was thinking of maybe doing like a Stitch with me and maybe answering some questions as well as talking about the Jingle Ball. More in the relation of, like, I myself are a fairly introverted person. You know, I mean, the extroverts, they go to these things, they jump in, they talk, they do everything. It's not really, but for someone who is more of an introvert, who maybe is shyer, what kind of experience did I have? And I would love to be able to impart that and share that with you so that if maybe you haven't done these things because you're not sure, I can at least give you some of my thoughts. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to it this year as a Stitch with me, but I may make myself some notes. So if I do it beforehand, say next year when registration is going to be opening up. At some point, though, I thought it might be fun just to do that and do it from that perspective, because everybody can tell you about the other stuff. And I've already seen several different Flosstubes that do a lovely job explaining it. So I wanted to do something maybe a little bit different angle-wise with that. And those of you who are, you know, love and thrive being around people, you know, you may not care to hear it, but I know there'd be others that might. So we'll see on that. But I did attend it. I did enjoy it. I will just say that. And I do have thoughts about like successfully navigating it if you are more of an introverted sort of person. So anyway, that's about it. Not a huge amount of plans this weekend. Like I said, we're kind of leaving it open because it is supposed to be nice. The cold weather is supposed to come slamming back in next week. Sunday, rain afternoon into evening. I think we're supposed to get quite a lot of rain. So let me say Saturday and half of Sunday, we're going to see what we can do. And then probably hunker in on Sunday after that. So we'll see. I hope you are having a lovely time. Oh, for my friends who do celebrate Hanukkah, I'm wishing you a wonderful season of celebrating. I think it started last night, right? I'm not 100% sure on that. So sending my thoughts to you for a lovely time. Other than that, that's about it. That's all I have. So remember to take time for yourself, especially this time of year, because there is so many other things that can pull you in all these directions. So take a little time for yourself, and whether that's stitching or whether that's something else, that's really up to you, right? And just be gentle. Be gentle with yourself, and you know, you always give other people leeway and grace. Most likely give yourself some leeway and grace as well. And that's about it. Until next time, happy stitching.